Hello, and welcome to Everything Explained. I'm your host, and today we ask a big question. Why do humans organize into nations? Nations feel natural to us now, almost obvious, but they're a fairly recent invention built step by step from clans, city-states, empires, and shifting borders. In this episode, we'll unpack the puzzle. What do nations do for us? Where did they come from? And why do they sometimes fray instead of hold together? We'll also tease apart the difference between nation, state, and nationalism, so we're clear about the terms we're using. First, security. When people band together, they can defend one another against outside threats. A group with a clear center of power can mobilize soldiers, collect taxes, and coordinate defense more easily than a loose federation of tribes. A border acts like a fence with a gate. It's not just about keeping others out, it's about deciding who belongs and who doesn't. That clarity helps reduce friction and prevent constant feuding. Think of how modern armies and air defenses rely on a shared command and a common sense of danger. Throughout history, big changes in borders have followed wars and treaties, and sometimes nations are born after a people win the right to govern themselves. Second, economic life. Nations help goods, people, and money move with less friction when there are shared rules. A common set of laws, tax rules, and property rights makes long-distance trade possible. Imagine a company that can hire workers, pay taxes, and rely on courts almost anywhere in the same system. The scale of modern economies depends on trust, and nations formalize that trust with institutions. When a country builds roads, schools, and reliable public services, people are more willing to participate in the market and invest in the future. The idea of a single market in Europe, for example, lets a factory design a product in one country, ship parts across borders, and sell it everywhere with one set of rules. Third, governance and legitimacy. People want rules they can understand and influence. The social contract idea is that we consent to a system that protects us and gives us a say, through elections, courts, or assemblies. If the system delivers roads, schools, security, and opportunity, we'll tolerate its costs. If it looks arbitrary, legitimacy collapses. Nations provide that felt legitimacy through shared rules, a flag, a constitution, a parliament, and a common story about who we are. Elections give people a chance to change direction. Courts hold leaders to account. Constitutions promise certain rights. These pieces don't guarantee perfection, but they create a predictable framework in which life can unfold. Fourth, identity and culture. Nations offer belonging. People adopt a national story, where we came from, what we stand for, what we celebrate. Language, history, holidays, symbols, the flag, the anthem, and shared memories of past victories or losses, these knit strangers into a community. You can see this in almost every country. National days that bring people together, school curricula that teach a common past, and sports teams that unite fans in exultation or heartbreak. Diasporas keep ties to their homeland even when they live far away, and that adds new colors to the national tapestry. Fifth, borders as organizing devices. A map with a border helps manage who has access to which resources and who pays for what to run roads, schools, and hospitals. Borders also make diplomacy possible, channels to negotiate with others as equals. The modern idea of the nation-state grew out of a long arc, from empires to kingdoms to city-states, culminating in the belief that sovereignty rests with the people and their government, not a divine or distant ruler. The Peace of Westphalia in 1648 is often cited as a turning point, though people argued about belonging long before that. Borders aren't just lines on a map, they shape who can move, work, and participate in a country's life. Today, globalization tests nations in two ways. People move, goods flow, and information travels fast, pulling cultures together and forcing governments to cooperate across borders. At the same time, nationalist movements remind us that people want control over their destiny and a story that fits their lived experience. You can see this in regional blocs like the European Union, which tries to knit many nations into one market while preserving distinct identities, and in countries where regional languages and local traditions fight for space alongside a national story. The internet makes cross-border friendships and activism easier, but it can also spread anxiety about jobs and culture. So why do humans organize into nations? Because nations solve a practical bundle of needs: safety, predictable trade, legitimate rule, and a shared sense of belonging. They also provide a powerful story that binds people together as a community and sometimes in conflict with others. Nations aren't timeless. They are ambitious, imperfect experiments in coordinating large groups of people across space and time. The more we understand what holds them together, the more we can see their strengths and their limits. That's why humans organize into nations. To belong, to build, and to navigate the long road ahead, together.